Now, at the 46th ASEAN Summit, unity and partnership becomes the focus as leaders discuss pressing regional issues. From economic growth to cross-border cooperation, the summit reflects ASEAN's continuing role in shaping Southeast Asia's future. Now, to find out more about this issue, Stephanie Siditonga is here again to speak with Sidarto Suryodiputro, Director General of ASEAN Cooperation of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
ASEAN Summit today officially kicks on at KLCC Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. All leaders from the Southeast Asia gathered this morning, and they are ready to talk, discuss, and also later respond to the pressing regional issues. And I'm now with Bapak Sidarto Suryodiputro, Director General of ASEAN Cooperations at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Republic of Indonesia. Good morning, Bapak. Thank you for your time for us, TVRI World. We would like to know what are the key objectives of our delegations at this 46th ASEAN Summit today.
The world and the region today is facing serious challenges. There is a very rapidly evolving security architecture, economic architecture. So Indonesia, both as on its own and as part of ASEAN, sees the need, together with other ASEAN members, to find ways to address these challenges. And to do that is primarily by maintaining unity, having clarity on the ways ahead, and also strengthening relations with all ASEAN partners. So this is the main avenue to do so. The Indonesian delegation, led by President Prabowo Subianto, who is meeting at the summit today and tomorrow, will be engaged on these issues.
All right. We also see high-talk meetings being held prior to this event. For example, yesterday we had these foreign ministers also. So what's your comment on what has been discussed on this foreign ministers meeting?
So the foreign ministers, they met since Saturday afternoon. They met to discuss specifically on the Myanmar issue. And yesterday they met the foreign ministers to discuss regional and international issues, regional situation. They discussed challenges in the region, also challenges such as maritime stability, for example, in the South China Sea. They discussed also the Myanmar issue, the Timor-Leste full participation as an ASEAN member state. Remember, Timor-Leste was in principle accepted as the 11th member of ASEAN in 2022. So they have participated in all ASEAN member states. They are increasing, they are very familiar now with how ASEAN works. And the target now is how to achieve full participation in ASEAN. And then also other issues relating to the international situation. Ministers also discussed the issue of Gaza and how it impacts the world. So that is the within ASEAN itself. The foreign ministers also met as the ASEAN Coordinating Council in preparation for the summit. So the various decisions that the summit will take, the foreign ministers had discussed them. And then yesterday, so that is Sunday, Sunday afternoon, evening, the ASEAN foreign ministers met with the foreign ministers of the Gulf Cooperation Council in preparation for the summit between the second summit of ASEAN and Gulf Coordination Council, and then also to discuss about the first, or the meeting without precedence, the meeting of leaders of ASEAN, of the Gulf Cooperation Council, and with China, which is represented by the Premier. So that is the whole gamut of the ASEAN foreign ministers discussions from Saturday and yesterday.
All right. Speaking about Myanmar with the ongoing conflict, and we also seen that this morning, all the delegations from the Southeast Asia state members are attending the plenary and also greeted by the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim. But we didn't see the leader of Myanmar. Any thoughts on this?
Yes, so Myanmar is represented by what is called a non-political representative. The person is the permanent secretary of the Foreign Ministry of Myanmar. This is a decision by ASEAN leaders beginning in 2021. Subsequently, the decision in 2022 was that Myanmar at a summit level meeting and foreign ministers meeting would be led by a non-political representative. So what's important to underline is that, first of all, Myanmar is and shall remain a member of ASEAN. Secondly, Myanmar shall continue to be part of the ASEAN community building effort. Thirdly, it is recognized that Myanmar is facing challenges domestically. It needs time and attention to focus on sorting out its domestic political situation, the various issues that it has, resulting from the political crisis from the coup in 2021, as well as a more fundamental issue of nation building that Myanmar faces. So it needs time to focus on those issues. And at the same time, ASEAN recognizes that any solution to the Myanmar issues has to be a Myanmar-led, Myanmar-owned process. ASEAN is here to assist Myanmar in coming out of these issues, these problems that they have. In essence, this is what is framed within the ASEAN 5-point consensus: to have a cessation of violence, to assist in humanitarian assistance, ASEAN to coordinate. The ministers had a lengthy discussion on this, how to assist, coordinate, including international assistance and ASEAN's own assistance to Myanmar on the humanitarian side, and how to continue to encourage an inclusive political dialogue. Ultimately, the best way out is to have an inclusive process where all relevant parties in Myanmar, all the stakeholders, can sit around the table and agree on a way out.
Right. So still about Myanmar. So what are actually Indonesia's stance for this Myanmar? We know that we always support positive things for Myanmar with its ongoing issues right now. So what are the stance of the Republic of Indonesia for the Myanmar conflict?
Ultimately, the stability, the prosperity of Myanmar is the interest of Indonesia. Indonesia will be impacted by any developments in Myanmar, either way, positive or negative. We will be impacted. Now remember that the question of the Rohingya refugees, that even preceded the coup d'etat of 2021. It impacts the whole region. So we have an interest to ensure that Myanmar can become a stable country, prosperous, a united one, and also a country that would be able, therefore, if it's strong, would also be able to control, to reduce activities from within its borders that is impacting the region, such as online scam, drug issues, drug trafficking in person. So all of us in the region, not least Indonesia, have a strong interest in seeing Myanmar come out of its crisis.
Now let's talk about the global economic challenges. So, what are the main economic issues being discussed at this summit?
Well, the leaders today will discuss on the current global economic situation, including on the unilateral tariff applied by the U.S. As you know, the ASEAN economic ministers back in April had already discussed this issue, came out with a view. So leaders then will today also discuss this and set a way forward for ASEAN. So the economic ministers, in essence, they decided that first of all, ASEAN shall not retaliate to the U.S. tariff. It will instead engage with the U.S. It will intensify relations with the U.S. from within ASEAN-U.S. mechanism, such as the trade and investment framework agreement and enhanced economic engagements. So discuss it within that, but at the same time also strengthen engagement with other countries, other regions, other ASEAN partners, such as through what we call the ASEAN +1 mechanism and the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP. And that, if there are trade imbalances, that ASEAN will use trade remedy issues instead of tariff. And then the ministers, ASEAN economic ministers, also established what is called a geostrategic task force to discuss the ongoing issues and the way forward. So all of these are ongoing, and leaders will take stock of developments and decide the way forward.
And talking about the GCC, we seen that all the leaders from the GCC leaders came since yesterday, right? So what will be the main topic or discussions for this agenda at the summit?
It's a matter of ASEAN and GCC as two different regions, both with its developments, its own advances, and these are two regions that are also strategically located in their respective broader regions. How we can work closer together, and among the issues in the agenda are issues like energy, investment, green energy, food cooperation, labor mobility, and other issues. Economic issues would include also halal cooperation. So it's a broad range of issues, and there would be under discussion now in the negotiations is two draft joint statements by ASEAN and GCC leaders. One is a joint statement of the second summit, ASEAN GCC summit, and the second is a joint statement on economic cooperation between ASEAN and GCC.
And now let's deep dive more into the security dynamics evolving and the U.S. in the region. So what is our response to this evolving security dynamics?
Well, for ASEAN and for Indonesia, we are friends with all countries. We understand that our region is among the world's most strategic region. It is a crossroad. It is an intersection of global shipping. It's in the interest of all countries to have a stable region. So this is in essence, the effort we continue, and President Prabowo has at various occasions also mentioned this, that Indonesia is a friend to all, and that secondly that we like to see an ASEAN that continues to be united, because a united ASEAN is a strong ASEAN. So these are statements that manifest what is the core interest of ASEAN, not only today, but it has been consistent since ASEAN's own founding. So that is what is the strategy in essence, and we call on all countries, all ASEAN partners, to continue to be part in the growth of this region, the stability, the prosperity of this region, because ultimately they also benefit from the growth in ASEAN. A population of 700 million people, the fifth largest economy collectively, the largest trading partner for China, for Japan, India, the fourth largest for the US, the sixth largest for the European Union. So actually, continued stability, prosperity is an interest of all. Our partners are also our stakeholders.
So the world attention is now on the ASEAN, this 46th ASEAN Summit. So what will be the key takeaways, as this is also the last questions? So what will be expected from the results of the ongoing discussions that will be held today and tomorrow from all the leaders from ASEAN?
We have to see for the outcome of the summits, but it is the expectation of all that ASEAN would come out with a strong response to the ongoing situation, now the geopolitical situation, the regional global economic situation, that ASEAN will come out stronger. It will agree on how to strengthen unity within ASEAN, including on better intra-ASEAN trade, better economic relations with all countries, with the ASEAN partners, and an agreement on the necessity for better regional stability. This would include addressing the issue of Myanmar and how to accelerate for Timor-Leste's full membership in ASEAN, and also in the immediate neighborhood of ASEAN, including Indonesia.
So thank you very much, Bapak Sidarto Suryodipurno, Director of General of ASEAN Cooperations at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia. So for now, that's all we have from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Back to you to the studio.